Hey, I'm John. Welcome to Mr. G's Workbench. Today we're going to jump into part 3 of the Mi-24 Hind build. If you recall, in part 2 we finished assembling the engines, we painted them, and we installed them into what will eventually be the engine bay floor. Then we took that assembly and we added it to the cabin / cockpit assembly we had already done in part 1. So we've got all that done. Today we're going to put that stuff into the fuselage. We're going to close up the fuselage and we're going to do some work with some decal rivets. Man, I can't say that. We're gonna install some decal rivets from Micromark today. We're going to get that done. We want to be ready for primer and paint by the time we're done today. So we'll get to that. Before we start, thanks very much for stopping in. I appreciate your visit and your view. And big shout out to my subscribers. We're up over 2,100, cruising towards 2,200 as we speak. And a huge shout out to my channel member family. Thank you guys very much for going above and beyond. It's very much appreciated. Thank you. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, it's $1.99 US a month. Just look down underneath the screen. You'll see a join button. Hit the join button and become part of the channel member family. Again, thank you guys very much for your support. So without further delay, let's jump in and let's get the fuselage assembled. Let's take a look at what we got. majority of the fuselage assembly is finished. I just wanted to take a second to explain what's been going on because some of this was a little difficult to film. We got the 3D printed parts on for the weapon area here with the sensors. That was actually, they all fit really well. After you cleaned everything up, if you clean all the excess off, they pop right into place. They line up right with the shape of this area here. Everything else was attaching the rest of the photo etch that you see here, some of these small parts. It's against my better judgment to put these sensors in, but you know what? One way or the other, it's got to get done. The sequence for putting the canopy parts all fit really well. Do them in one way, and I think they all fit together without issue, and they fit nice and tight. You have to install this first, obviously. Next, I put this part on, the larger part here. Once that was tacked in, then I got this in. These you gotta, I wouldn't do these off the model because it's too hard to line them up. But doing them on the model gives you the opportunity to get all this glass lined up with no gaps. So, like I said, I got this on with some extra thin around the edges so that it stayed in place. Then I slipped this piece in, and since the glue was still tacky here, I was able to move it, get that windshield in, push them together, and get rid of any other gaps. This was a pain in the dick. It didn't really fit really well. These straps didn't fit well. I put them in where the instructions said, and they had gaps. Even though I tried to get it evened out, you could still see there's a gap there. The two resin parts went together all right. Got everything on here fine. And you can see here, I've begun installing rivet decals. I'll show you how I do one row so you can get a sense, and then we can keep going. For a reference, so that I can do these rivets, I'm not going to do every last rivet. I'm telling you that now. I downloaded, if you just Google Mi-24 plan, you'll see a few of these. This one was high resolution with lots of detail. You can see here, you can see the rivet patterns here. So what I did was, I did the basic lines. We'll start on the other side now. I've got the plan here. Let me show you how that works. Cut a section of the decal down. It's cut to length. It's going to go right here. And then what I'm going to do is where I shorted myself in the back here, I can add a few on. I've got like a couple of miscellaneous amounts that'll make up that gap. But I'm trying to keep, parallel with the lines that they give you. And then once that's on, definitely use some setting solution to help it set down. I'm hoping that's going to help later when I go to prime it. So there's one. I'll only do a few more and I'll show you how it goes. The riveting's done, and I spared you the tedium of watching me do it. The micro mark decals, the rivet decals, went on like a charm. I'm really happy with them. I didn't do every last rivet on the helicopter. I just did the ones where I think it'll make the most difference. So I've done both sides, especially the tail, where it'll be really outstanding. And I did the tops of the wings and the sides based on the diagrams that I had to work from. I've tacked the doors on here and here and here with liquid mask from Ammo. It's like a glue. It's great because when you pull it off later on, you can pull all the dried up pieces off without much issue. So this door didn't fit on. There was a little bit of a difference in the shape. Again, since I didn't install the door when I did all this canopy glass. I closed up the exhausts with foam. This upper door is again glued on with liquid mask. And I just got this the other day, and I used that to cover up the rotor area up here. So I'm good for primer at this point. I'm going to hit it with black primer. I was kind of considering using mahogany primer, but I think I'm going to go with the black because I really just want to fill in any spaces that might be left. So I'm leaving these off until I finish painting, because this way I can paint and decal without an issue. So we're going to stop here. We've got, I lied to myself, and we went with the Mr. Mahogany Surfacer for the primer. Reason being that the scheme, cat's out of the bag. If you've been looking at the thumbnails for each of these videos, you already know I'm doing what I consider the traditional Hind scheme with the green over the sand yellow color. So we're going to do that, and it's going to have a shark mouth and everything. I think it's going to look really cool. So I'm happy with the way this came together. Honestly, the Zvezda kit fits together very well. If you take your time with it, it fits like a glove. The canopy area is a little hinky if you don't, watch what you're doing. I still wound up having issues with it when all was said and done. But other than that, the micromark rivets, there'll be a link to the product down in the description. Not a sponsor, obviously. They go on well. With the shipping, they were $27. $27 when I took math class is less than $105. So worth doing it that way. If you just download a diagram and cut up your own rivets, you'll be fine. I've got the wings primed up. They're good to go. I haven't built up the rocket launchers yet. Well, they're missile launcher rails, actually, for the anti-tank missiles. So the next video is going to be painting and weathering. I've never used any of these masking putties before. This will be an experience for me. Hopefully I don't pull the rivets off with this stuff. I've always free-handed camo, but I'm wary of doing that because I don't think it'll come out neat, and I'll probably have a bunch of really sloppy looking touch-ups, so I'm going to avoid that. So we're going to try and use the masking putty. We'll see how things go. I'll probably try it first with like one of the wings. This way, if it pulls the rivets off, I'll know right away, and I'll find an alternative. So that's where we're at. Thanks for stopping in. As always, I appreciate it. Thanks once again to all my subscribers. 1,000 thanks. And huge thanks, as always, kudos to channel members. So thank you for stopping in. Hope everybody's good. Stay well, take care, and I will see you to paint and weather this thing. I keep wanting to say paint and prime, but